2018 Škoda Superb Estate Review. The good points of Škoda Superb Estate: enormous interior, sharp styling, comfortable ride, great value. The bad points of Škoda Superb Estate: lackluster interior, unengaging drive. Some people could find it too big. Rear seats don't fold flat. These elegantly chiseled lines, enveloping a commodious interior, participate in the second-generation Škoda Superb Estate, which joins its hatchback sibling revealed earlier in 2015. Its enormity ensures it is usually regarded as a real rival with the likes in the Audi A6 Avant, Mercedes-Benz A-Class Estate and Volvo V70 regarding carrying capacity, while still competing resistant to the Vauxhall Insignia Sports Tourer, Ford Mondeo Estate and Volkswagen Passat Estate on price. The Škoda Superb Estate's boot size really matters. Transforming the Superb hatchback's fastback profile right into a more cargo-friendly estate body has involved both lengthening and widening the size and style over the outgoing model. Rear seats up, the Škoda Superb Estate will swallow 660 liters of luggage, shopping and other things you need to transport, a boost of 27 liters within the previous generation. Fold the back seats over and this increases to some maximum of 1,950 liters, although you'll desire to invest within the variable height boot floor choice to have a flatter load bed. Not only is this the roomiest rear inside the segment, its 85 liters over the model it replaces too. Cavernous interior swallows families whole. As using the hatchback, the rest on the Superb Estate's cabin is roomier compared to Awachi's spacious predecessor and feels a lot more upmarket, which has a classy interior fabricated from premium quality plastics. Škoda's also ramped within the simply clever features to raise the car's practicality, including an electrical tailgate which is often made to open that has a wiggle with the foot under the back bumper, closing again by offering a brief pull upon the door itself. Petrol or diesel engine? A great choice in any case. We expect most Škoda Superb Estate customers to choose one from the economical diesels, particularly where maximizing efficiency across higher mileages may be the primary consideration. The range kicks off that has a 120 horsepower 1.6-liter TDI offering 67.3 miles per gallon or 70.6 miles per gallon when fitted with all the 7-speed DSG automatic box. Our pick include the 150 horsepower 2-liter TDI which has a claimed 68.9 miles per gallon. Opting to the DSG box or 4-wheel drive impacts a bit on efficiency. So does plumping with the more powerful 190 horsepower addition with the engine. The petrol Škoda Superb options. Those in search of petrol power have a very refreshingly number of choices. The basic 1.4-liter TSI will come in 123 bhp and 148 bhp guises, these of which is a bit more efficient at 55.4 miles per gallon whether in manual or DSG format. Both with the 2.0-liter TSI variants -220 horsepower and 280 horsepower, are exclusively fitted using the DSG transmission. While performance is impressive, the stronger edition will sprint from 0.62 miles per hour in a mere 5.8 seconds. It's unlikely to check its reasonable claimed fuel economy of 39.2 miles per gallon. We ran a 280 horsepower 4x4 Škoda Superb Sportline like a long-termer, and this averaged merely a little greater than 31 miles per gallon, the industry good result taking into consideration the performance available. The verdict. Describing the Škoda Superb Estate as cheap could be misleading, nevertheless it does offer great good value compared to having its rivals, whether you're for the amount of metal your hard-earned dollars buys, or even the level of equipment offered. 5 trims levels are given, with all of Superb's featuring alloy wheels, multi-function buttons for the leather-wrapped leader, a power parking brake, Bluetooth connectivity, DAB radio and stop-start for that engine. Find out much more about this spacious family wagon by watching full Škoda Superb estate review. As having its hatchback counterpart, 4 petrol and 3 diesel engines provide Škoda Superb estate performance, including adequate to surprisingly brisk. Trio of diesels. Most Škoda Superb estates purchased in Britain will arrive fitted that has a diesel motor, offering greater fuel efficiency over longer journeys. Entry-level diesels use a 1.6-liter TDI motor, producing 118 bhp, with 250 Nm of torque provided by 1,500 revolutions per minute. Whether you opt with the standard 6-speed manual or optional 7-speed DSG automatic, performance is actually but identical. Both reach 127 miles per hour, even though the manual completes the benchmark 062 miles per hour sprint in 11 seconds, the DSG only a tenth of the second more. Škoda claims the manual will achieve 67.3 miles per gallon and CO2 emissions of 109 gkm, figures trumped from the DSG, 70.6 miles per gallon and 105 gkm respectively. We expect the 148 bhp edition in the 2-liter diesel to get most popular inside Superb estate, especially with 340 Nm of torque for your use from 1,750 revolutions per minute. With manual transmission 135 miles per hour is achievable, even though the 062 miles per hour test takes 8.9 seconds. Choose the 6-speed DSG or manual with 4-wheel drive and others figures drop to 134 miles per hour, 9.0 seconds and 132 miles per hour, 9.1 seconds, respectively. That front-wheel drive manual 148 bhp Superb estate posts claims of 68.9 miles per gallon and 109 gkm of CO2. Opt to the DSG and the one's numbers crunch to 61.4 miles per gallon and 121 gkm, as the 4x4 claims the identical fuel efficiency but 120 gkm of CO2. Topping the diesel range is often a 187 bhp version from the same 2-liter unit, now delivering 400 Nm of torque, enough to accept the manual version to 146 miles per hour and from your standstill to 62 miles per hour in 8.1 seconds. The DSG automatics, in front and 4-wheel drive, have lower top speeds 145 miles per hour and 142 miles per hour but quicker acceleration times 7.8 and 7.7 seconds respectively. Efficiency isn't hurt too badly, together with the manual quoted at 67.3 miles per gallon and 110 gkm. Front-wheel drive DSGs are rated at 61.4 miles per gallon and 120 gkm whilst the 4x4 version drops to 55.4 miles per gallon and 135 gkm. Quartet of petrols. In a segment where diesels significantly outsell petrols, it's surprising to seek out 4 alternatives fueled by unleaded. Essentially there's 2 basic engines, each easily obtainable and a couple of power outputs. Škoda's opening petrol gambit could be the 1.4-liter TSI and 123 bhp guys, producing 200 Nm of torque from just 1,400 revolutions per minute. It's not sluggish either, the manual transmission-only model reaching 128 miles per hour with 062 miles per hour carried out in 10 seconds flat. Škoda claims generally 52.3 miles per gallon using a CO2 production of 126 gkm. Next up can be a pair of 148 bhp additions from the same 1.4-liter TSI. either that has a 6-speed manual transmission or perhaps a 7-speed DSG automatic. Torque's increased to your more useful 250 Nm, but that peak flow doesn't arrive until 1,500 revolutions per minute. Not only is performance better together with the higher output engine, top speeds of 135 miles per hour for both gearboxes, the manual being 0.2 seconds quicker from 062 miles per hour at 8.7 seconds, efficiency is superior too, due to active cylinder technology turning off two in the cylinders in the event the engine's running below full load. Official figures hold the manual and DSG at 55.4, with CO2 rated at 119 gkm for both. Topping the petrol lineup can be a pair of 2-liter TSIs, both with 6-speed DSGs, the better solely provided with 4-wheel drive. With 217 bhp and 350 Nm provided by 1,500 revolutions per minute, the lower-powered 2-liter petrol will reach 151 miles per hour and squirt from 062 miles per hour in 7.1 seconds. Unsurprisingly, efficiency has a nosedive as being a result, with claims of 44.8 miles per gallon and CO2 emissions of 146 gkm. Topping the performance chart, and bottoming the efficiency rankings, may be the 276 bhp addition on the 2-liter TSI, that includes 4x4. Torque's still 350 Nm these days, available at a somewhat headier 1,700 revolutions per minute. We tested this engine thoroughly in a long Celp to Frankfurt. Watch whatever we thought about it here. This Superb will reach 155 miles per hour and dart from your standstill to 62 miles per hour in a very sports car-like 5.8 seconds, but economy drops to 39.2 miles per gallon, emissions nearly 168 gkm. This just isn't a Skoda that's cheap to own. If you would like your commodious wagon to really feel and assured, then your Škoda Superb estate is usually a natural selection, for it has those qualities in spades. Those dreaming about something engaging, like its premium rivals including the BMW 5 Series Touring or Jaguar XF Sport Brake, are likely for being disappointed with all the dynamics, otherwise the space. Under the Superb's skin is definitely an enlarged version in the underpinnings that support numerous Volkswagen Golf derivatives, like the Skoda Octavia estate. While the Superb feels more upmarket than its sibling, it's unlikely to get a car you practice out purely to the joy of driving. Where promoted shines is often a long-haul see that which you thought of our long-termers' motorway prowess. Choose your Superb estate in say L Executive or Flagship Lauren and Clement specification, and you'll take pleasure in the drive mode selection function. Not only will it customize the throttle application and steering, even aircon and dynamic lighting patterns alter, too. That range-topping L&K also incorporates dynamic chassis control DCC as standard, optional on other Superbs, which varies the amount of stiffness in the adaptive suspension dampers. There's an apparent difference, particularly with all the suspension settings. In most instances the Superb estate felt at its finest in normal mode. The firmness of Sport felt at odds while using Skoda's comfortable EBS, whereas Comfort itself felt too soft, allowing the big body to wallow over heavily undulated surfaces. It's the same situation using the steering, the weighting which felt either too light or heavy without increasing or decreasing the number of feel transmitted by way of the driver's hands. That said, the Superb estate does hold on gamely around bends, benefiting from your electronic differential to help keep tight lines around corners. You really should push the fundamental Skoda hard before its front tires complain and to push you wide into understeer. If you're progressing to your Škoda Superb estate in the smaller Octavia, or several cars through the Volkswagen stable, you might be a tad disappointed with all the interior. Certainly not because on the space, material quality, finish and the generous numbers of equipment, but because it's so like other models it lacks the special feel you'd witness inside a BMW or Audi cabin. If you aren't acquainted with those cars then you'll be onto an excellent. The Škoda's cabin is great, with strong geometric lines that complement those in the bodywork. Yes, there are many firmer plastics round the cabin's lower reaches, however in most areas your fingertips will probably be delighted as being the probe the soft touch materials and feel the well-damped switchgear. Most designs have instruments of exceptional clarity. Nevertheless the buff-colored ones fitted towards the range-topping Lauren and Clement versions not just are more difficult to watch, they conspire to appear less classy. Other displays, especially the larger infotainment screens, are an awesome experience, though, the harder expensive systems benefiting from your proximity sensor which enlarges on-screen buttons as the hand approaches. Owners of newer iPhones can even benefit from Apple Carplay, a process that uses the screen to convert it into what appears for being a device through the American electronics manufacturer, with all the same graphics as you'll find on your own handheld version. Achieving a superb seating position is straightforward enough too, especially as the tire adjusts for reach and angle. Exterior mirrors are usefully large, too, affording fine rearward visibility. Combine a palatial cabin which has a supple ride quality and you develop the key ingredients to get a serene driving experience, and that's why we rate Škoda Superb estate comfort so highly. In fact, we drove one the length in the country to assess its comfort levels. Watch more here. Not only would be the interior space more generous than before in every single direction, apart from rear seat legroom which, while it remains unchanged, remains to be the largest to use class, it feels more luxurious and cost-cutting compared to outgoing Superb. Wherever you sit you'll feel as if you've got plenty, with ample room without elbows or heads grazing the entranceway panels and headlining. The quality of fit and take care of adds for the sense of comfort, with well-damped controls along with a reassuring thunk once you close the doors. The cabin's essentially without any ambient noise too, whether it's emerging on the engine, tires along the road surface or wind whistling across the windscreen and exterior mirrors. Many models are luxuriously appointed with heated leather seats, optionally provided by air conditioning, while depending about the specification you plump for, the climate control can regulate nearly 3 different interior zones. Adaptive suspensions on a Škoda to the first time, standard for the Superb estate in Lauren and Clement trim, optional on other occasions. While rides exceptionally relaxed in comfort mode, there were a tendency to the car to wallow more than a series of quick-fire undulations. The normal setting doesn't transmit intrusion significantly in the cabin, even so the car feels better balanced across a number of ride types as mode. Following its summer 2015 launch, the Škoda Superb estate will come in 5 familiar trim amounts of S, say Business, L Executive and Lauren and Clement acting because the lineup's flagship. Standard Škoda Superb estate equipment. Entry level certainly doesn't make for any sparse specification if you choose the Škoda Superb estate in S trim. Outside it's adorned with 16-inch iron alloy wheels, body-colored door mirror housings and handles and front fog lights. Climb aboard and you'll like a multi-function, leather-wrapped tire, an electrical parking brake, an expedient removable boot light that doubles to be a torch, a visit computer, Bluetooth connectivity, DAB radio and also a 5-inch touchscreen for that infotainment system. Move up a notch on the say and you'll also try a 17-inch alloy upgrade inside the Helios design, a cornering function inside the front fog lights, adaptive cruise control, rear parking sensors and electrically folding door mirrors. Inside you'll take advantage of lumbar adjustable front seats, dual-zone climate control, umbrellas built into your front doors plus an upgraded Bolero infotainment package which has a 6.5-inch touchscreen. aimed squarely at company car drivers is Say Business, which builds upon the Say's generous kit count to feature the Strato's style of 17-inch alloy wheel, LED rear lights, parking sensors back and front, the upgraded Amundsen infotainment system with Satinov and Alcantara upholstery. More luxurious appointments locate way in the Say L executive line, which adds 18-inch zenith alloys, bi-xenon headlamps with LED day running lights and headlamp washers for the Say's exterior specification. Once inside you'll discover leather upholstery, heated front seats, and electrically adjustable driver's seat, the Columbus Infotainment Package with Satinov and 8-inch screen, and electric-operated tailgate along with a series of nets for that boot area. Topping the range would be the Lauren and Clement, which adds more standard equipment on the Say L executive's roster. While the wheels remain 18 inches in diameter, they're on the Pegasus design through an anthracite finish, and electrically heated windscreen, blind spot detection, lane keeping assist, self-parking function, keyless entry and begin and dynamic chassis control with adaptive dampers. Inside there's a substitute 10-speaker Canton stereo audio, a television function, heated rear seats, piano black interior trim appliques and 3-zone climate control. Optional Škoda Superb accessories. Sitting for the head from the firm's range, it's no surprise to discover that the Škoda Superb estate is generously equipped, though this doesn't mean you can't improve the specification levels further using a selection of options. Perhaps the most obvious will be the car's color. You will find 14 shades from which to choose, including 4 complementary interior shades as well as a quartet of interior trim decor alternatives too. Many Superb estate Salwachi have heated leather seats, however these can be upgraded further to aircon versions. Additionally, an auxiliary heater function could be added to warm your vehicle up prior to getting inside, a welcome boon for bitter mornings. Many rear seat passengers prefer to carry tablets surrounding cars using them these days. The Superb estate gives a cradle built into a corner center armrest, allowing the device might be angled as desired. Opting for that variable height boot floor allows not merely for smaller items to become hidden under the false bottom, nevertheless it creates a flatter load bay once the seats are tumbled. While it's to be crash tested in the auspices from the experts at Euro NCAP, we fully expect Škoda Superb safety to become rated at 5 stars, as was the last generation from the car. It certainly comes set with equipment created to make it the safest model inside Czech brand's range, with perhaps the entry-level S-grade packed with kit meant to minimize crashes and also the consequences of these. Not only is electronic stability control fitted as standard, so can be other key electronic features like emergency city braking, multi-collision braking to mitigate against rolling along into additional crashes, as well as a pedestrian safety system. We gave this safety kit an intensive shakedown inside our Superb long-termer. Watch more here. Move around the Say trim for front fog lights that has a corner illumination function and adaptive cruise control, while Say Business specification introduces LED tail lights. Choose the Say L Executive for bi-xenon headlamps, complemented by LED day running lights, which alter their beam pattern in accordance with speed as well as other factors, as you move. The flagship Lauren and Clement editions usher in blind spot monitoring, lane assist and self-parking functions. Parking sensors, a reversing camera and rear traffic alert, which warns you of oncoming vehicles when reversing out of in space, are also part with the package. Airbags we are likely to take for granted today, though the Škoda Superb estate features 9 ones, including one with the driver's knees. With its rakish lines you'd be forgiven for wondering if Škoda Superb estate practicality was sacrificed with regard to looks, and not at all. It seems with Škoda's largest model you might have form and function. With the corner seats up, the boot measures an outstanding 660 liters, a boost of 27 liters on the outgoing Superb estate. It's a best-in-class figure, even though significantly smaller Peugeot 308 SW matches this number. How should it stack up from the smaller Skoda Octavia? We've compared the two. Watch our tester's notes here. With the 60 hours 40 minutes split rear seats tumbled over, that volume increases completely to another class best of 1,950 liters, up 85 liters compared towards the previous Superb estate. Just be conscious, without the optional variable height boot floor the cargo bay surface will not be completely flat, so you'd be wise to spend money on that if you'll regularly possess the seats folded for heavy loads. Aiding practicality further is the thing that Skoda refers to because the boot net program, a combination of retaining nets for keeping loose items neatly secure, while a good many Superb estates also feature an electric-powered tailgate. This might be set to simply open up into a particular height, to help prevent you damaging the paintwork with a garage ceiling as an example. Give the threshold itself a simple pull, also it pulls itself closed, the rest from the way electrically, too. Will all your family members fit? See how we have on with packing 3 kids into our long-termer. Around the cabin can be a number of conveniently sized and shaped chambers and cubbies, including an amazing feature Awachi found around the Superb hatchback. Inside front cup holder module is often a dimpled rubber base along with a narrower slot that enables bottles being undone single-handedly, useful when driving for minimal distraction. Finally, say versions and above share a design feature that's been a Superb mainstay because the first generation's introduction in 2002, as well as an idea only given to Rolls-Royce, door-mounted umbrellas.